Okay, so welcome back to the Postie bike charity build for Make-A-Wish Foundation. So last vid we got the engineing. So I don't know if you guys tune into Postie TV over on Facebook, but I said that this weekend I am going to get this thing up and running. So that's the plan. So once we got the engine in, we have to sort of bolt some bits and pieces on it. So just the first little thing that's a simple one. So we just connected up these wires, and they're literally colour for colour, so they all match. Some of the other bikes, that will be a plastic plug with two wires that join with these connectors. This one this is an older sort of style where they all have those connectors. So normally the plastic plug would be for the stator, and then for the ignition module there'll be two wires, which are these two that run up. So you got the green and yellow, blue and white, and they run up from the ignition module, and they'll be connected like that, but that will be a plastic plug similar to this sort of thing. So you connect that up. What I normally do is I'll wrap a little bit of tape around them just to help seal them if you're ever going through water or anything like that, and then I'll tape them up. These two are the fuel hoses. Obviously they don't sit there, but they're just there at the moment. So when they're out of the way, I'll wrap it all up and tie it up. Is that alright, mate? It's okay? Yeah? Alright, sweet. Just get an inspection from Mr. Wookie. So yeah, we'll tidy it up. I don't know what to call this video. It's sort of a bits and pieces one, but we'll put the inlet manifold and the carby on as well. We probably won't hook up the airbox because I'm still painting that, but we'll get that on. I can just throw a pod filter on it just to get it running. I normally do that. I will have to tune the carby again once I get there. Well, not always, but sometimes I have to tune it again when I put the original airbox on it. But I thought the first thing we'll do is we'll throw the exhaust on it, just to sort of get that in. The main reason is it looks pretty cool and I want to get it on. I spend a lot of time on it, so we'll get that on. So this is it here. You can see with the light. Again, I mentioned on Postie TV on Facebook the other day that this wasn't shiny enough, and I had another one that was nice and shiny, so swapped it over, which meant I had to paint all this again. Now when I do the exhaust, I take the chrome off, polish it up, and then I paint the rest of it, and I paint it in pot belly black, so like the old cast iron pot bellies. Do some paint. Give me a second. That's it, pot belly black. So self-priming, you don't really need to do any primers. It's obviously meant to get hot. It will smell a little bit for the first couple of goes, but then it comes good. So I use that on all my exhausts that I weld up and build. So I'll put this phone down. Actually, before I do that, I'll just show you what we need to do with it. So I'm going to show you this engine here. So this is another engine I've got in the shed. Might be easy to get to that if I can get the light a bit better. So there's the exhaust. Basically you've got two studs with nuts on them. Now a common fault for the Postie bikes, not a fault, but a common thing that can go wrong with them, is that these nuts will vibrate loose. Originally they're dome nuts, but I think you'll find the most of them have lost them and they've gone to just a sort of standard nut. There's a washer that goes in between it, so you wouldn't really put a spring washer on this. Is an asbestos washer which I've got here. Alright, so that sits up inside there and the exhaust sits on there. It just helps it seal, and gives it a little bit of movement. But the thing with that is, once you got that, you can't really put a spring washer because it will just crush that to a point where it's no longer usable. And when you do crush it, bits of it will stick out inside and sort of restrict your exhaust flow. So what I do is I'll get the bike all set up, running. Once it's all sweet, I'll just put some Loctite on them, some high temp Loctite, and that's how I stop them undoing. We had one of the guys on the last charity ride had that exact issue, ended up losing them. Some guys, I know Jeff at thepostiebike.com, he actually replaces these with a bolt and puts a bit of Loctite on it when he does that as well. So can be easier than trying to deal with these studs, but as I'm trying to keep the bike original as I can, I'll put the Loctite on it. So we'll do that, we'll throw that up. Alrighty, so I have just sort of laid it out now. I've got the exhaust here. So we've got this dome nut, and that goes up on the rear shock here. So I don't know how much you guys have been watching the videos, but there was a rear shock upgrade that I did with this bike. Obviously they're not the originals. In that I showed you my other bike, and I've actually put another nut with a thread on here to space it out so it doesn't hit here. I'll probably have to do the same on this bike. It's sort of an odd one. Some of them, sometimes they fit and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're really close and you probably want a little bit more room in there. So what I'll do is I'm just going to put the exhaust up just so you can see it. I'm going to polish this nut up and do the extension on here. I'll let you know if I do it or not before this video ends, but if you do want to see how that's done, that's on the rear shock upgrade video. Alright, so I've got those bits. I've got my two nuts for me studs to come out of the exhaust outlet. So I'm going to put the gasket in. I'm going to basically lift the exhaust up, put it in, put the two nuts on loosely, but I'm also going to hook it up on here, and then I'll just do this up. So what I'll do is I'll do that off camera because actually I might try and put my tripod up and show you. We'll see how we go. Hang on. Put the exhaust in itself, so I get it close to where it's got to go. Line up that nut on the stud, which I think I've done there. I've got one on there. It's just sitting up a lip for there. What I'm going to do is get that back. Now this is probably another thing that happens with the shock upgrade is that this pushes the exhaust out a bit more. I don't know if you can see me or not. Pushes the exhaust out a bit more, which means this hole doesn't line up. You might have to elongate the hole a bit with a a file or a drill. It's not ideal, but you just really sort of need it to go in there. So I'll pause the video. I'm just going to put the other nut on and take a little bit of time just fiddling with that. Get them loose, not tighten them up. I'll elongate this a bit so we can get it up. Alright, she's got an exhaust now. So did that little trick with a nut here. That's original thread, nut on the end of it, and then a new bolt. So I'll polish this all up. This is just sort of putting it all on, getting it running. There'll be a few bits and pieces I'll have to sort of polish up and tidy up once it's all up and running, but yeah, the exhaust is looking pretty nice. So I might stop that video now. I might have gone close to me 15 minutes, so I'll stop that now. We'll just call that one exhaust, fitting exhaust. And I'll just do another quick one now, and we'll put the inlet manifold in the carbion.